Welcome to the Confident Entrepreneur to Life podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Johnson. If you find yourself here, you may be looking for courage, clarity, or confidence in your life. Or maybe you just want to be entertained, and that is great as well. So let's go ahead and get started. Today, we're welcoming back into the studio Melissa Severance. She is a leadership and career coach and is also an HR consultant and training specialist. Welcome back.
Thanks to have me again. I love this.
Last time we learned so much. You had an event
Yeah,
called HR Disrupt, which was
exactly.
wonderful, amazing, informative. And now I really wanted to delve into HR because I
hmm
know that that's one of your kind of pillars, right?
Exactly.
So your pillars would be HR,
Coaching
coaching,
and training and speaking.
and training and speaking. So
Mhm.
I think it's always great that when you have some pillars, something to stand on, something to be like, this is what I'm about, right?
hmm
It's
Absolutely.
so important. It makes your message so much clearer.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, HR, I want
Mhm.
to talk about 6 strategies that will help with employee retention because let's face it, whether we're having problems hiring or we're probably having problems retaining,
hmm
I mean, that's kind of like everybody's in the same boat. Everybody. And I don't know
Yeah.
if it, from me, from a standpoint, I have over 50
Yeah.
employees. I feel like it almost happened overnight,
Yeah.
like after COVID, like it was boom.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you couldn't find employees or people weren't wanting to work. What shed some light on that?
Yeah. They called it the Great Resignation,
Mhm.
the Great Reshuffle. People were
I haven't
just
heard that
leaving.
one. The Great
Yeah. There's
Reshuffle.
now it's career cushioning's happening. I don't know if
Oh
you've heard of it.
my,
I love that one.
silent quitting. I've
And
heard of
silent
that, but what
quitting.
is
Yeah.
career cushioning?
Oh, that's where, employees are taking their own learning and development in their own hands to get ready for that next role.
Oh,
So really upskilling, getting certifications, getting experiences to do what they want to do, what they're passionate about, and going out and maybe doing it at another firm, not the firm they're at,
mhm,
and maybe because they're not fulfilled at that firm. So that's why retention is really needed at this point
mhm,
because people are ready for change. We've been through so much, and
mhm.
they want to make sure they're doing something that they feel that they have purpose that they enjoy and they're passionate about. So we need to make sure that they feel that the company they're at right now is that for
Okay.
them.
So how can we create that?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the 6 things we can do for retention.
Yeah. So, I'm sure we all have been hearing about flexibility.
Mhm.
That's kind of one of the biggest things. Um, it's really, maybe some places can't do remote work, but we have to be flexible in other ways. How are we expecting our employees to show up? Are you expecting them to be on call 24 hours a day? Are you letting
Mhm.
them do boundaries? Are you letting them be flexible with going to doctor appointments? People want to be able to live their lives and also work,
Mhm.
that work life harmony
Right.
that everybody is really striving for. So, how
Mhm.
can you give that to your employees in small ways if you can't do 100% remote, which many companies unfortunately can't?
Right. Like, I look at my situation, I'm a retail
Yeah,
store.
can do.
There's no way we could be
Yeah,
remote, but we could be flexible in allowing maybe a different start time
yeah,
or
absolutely.
something.
That's perfect. It's different start time or leaving early some days, and then the other days they come in extra early.
So
So,
maybe working 10-hour days sometimes during the week and then 8-hour days others, kind of like that.
correct. Yeah, everybody has different wants and needs
Mhm.
within their life. So individually, kind of working with them would help them feel that you're really caring about
Mhm.
their life and them as a person.
Okay. So
Yes.
that's number 1.
Yeah, flexibility is very, very important. Um, Another one is developing leaders. Um, we have allowed a lot of people to step up because we didn't have probably the right person maybe to be in a role, which I think is great.
Mhm.
I love giving people opportunities, but we haven't really been giving that training to let them be a good leader. And they are dealing with teams of people. And we need to make sure they have the leadership skills, training internally, externally, maybe giving them coaching internally or external,
Mhm.
using a executive leadership coach if needed, to address all the growth areas that they need so they be a better leader and continue to grow as they lead the people on their team.
That's a great point because it's something that I think as a business owner we don't always think about. It just I guess it really depends on what your industry is.
Yeah.
Um you may look at the top leaders, your management, but sometimes I think that the not management
Yeah.
can also, you know.
Everybody should grow their own individual leadership. So I think
Mhm.
everybody needs leadership training throughout the whole firm, but there's ones that need a little bit more care
Mhm.
if they're, dealing with a big group of people and leading them
Right.
because employees leave managers, they don't leave companies.
Yeah, that's very true. And even if how I look at it is
Yeah.
to hire a manager from outside is always harder than hiring someone from inside. So if you take someone who's not currently in a management position and you train them, eventually they could move up into that position and
Yeah.
you're not having to look outside.
Yeah, and the next area is having growth and leadership for our people, really having them to be able to get to the next level and upskills. So you want to have your people go into those leadership roles, but you need to give them the tools. You need to make sure they have the training, the
Mhm.
expertise, and most times when we do that, we promote within. They've never led or ever been a leader
Mhm.
to a group of people. So you need to make sure they have them tools in their toolkit to really be successful.
So tools in their toolkit
Yeah.
is number 3.
Yes.
And I totally get that. I totally do because how do I know how to it's like you wouldn't expect to throw somebody in who wants to be a doctor who's never had the training,
Right.
right? You need to have tools in your toolkit to be able to manage employees, to lead them.
Mhm.
I
Absolutely.
completely agree with that, you
Yeah.
know?
Um, and ask them what they need too. Sometimes it's a quick conversation. It could be really easy. It could be going in and just observing meetings
Mhm.
or doing a project that they haven't done before. So they have some additional expertise in that area that's going to help them.
Mhm.
Or practicing public speaking
Right.
so they present better and communicate better with their team. There's so many ways that it doesn't have to be a full certification, doesn't have to be a full course, but we can help them by giving
Mhm.
mentorship to them to make sure they see another leader in action and how they perform and how they interact with people so they know what they want to be and
Right.
what they want to strive to be.
And, I find it interesting. I've learned this in the realm of customers, but sometimes you can't just assume what they need
Yeah.
because it's not always what they are going to ask for. You need to ask, what is it that you feel you need?
Yeah,
And then kind of work with that as well.
absolutely. I think we don't have those conversations enough asking, what can I do to help you?
Mhm.
What are you struggling with? What is challenging right now? What do you feel good about? Even
Mhm.
just figuring out that all those questions help figure out their unique abilities or where they need opportunities for improvement.
Right. Absolutely. Is your closet overflowing, or maybe your kids' closets are as well? Or maybe you just want to redecorate your home. If you're wondering what to do with all that stuff that you've accumulated, bring it all to True Fashionistas or even ship it to them for free and they'll sell your unwanted items for you. They take away all the hassle by doing all the work, and all you have to do is sit back and collect your money. You can reach out to them online at truefashionistas.com. Come into the store or check them out on Facebook or Instagram, and that's truefashionistas.com. Welcome back, my friends. We are in the studio with Melissa Severance, and
Mhm.
we are talking about retention, employee retention. I know this is on everybody's
Yeah.
mind. It has been for quite some time.
Yeah. We need to really create that rewarding place for people to work at so they do
Hmm.
great work.
Exactly. So we went through the top 3. Number 1 was flexibility. Number 2, develop leaders. And number 3, growth and leadership training. Basically, toolbox.
Yep.
Fill their toolbox.
Absolutely.
What is number 4?
I think it's overall communication. It's
Okay.
really uncovering insights from our employees about what they need um, from the company, what they need for them to get to the next level. And we could do that through, I call them stay interviews. It's
What do you
similar
call
to
them?
stay interviews.
Stay interviews. Oh,
So
I
it's
like that.
yeah, it's kind of a different way of checking in. I think we went through some of the questions of really figuring out what they enjoy about their work, what they want to do more of, what is holding them back. Asking powerful questions to really listen and learn about them and see what really they need from the company, from you as a leader, so you can help them get to the next level.
As we're talking about
Yep.
this, I just had a fleeting
Yeah.
thought. So, in your coaching
Mhm.
business, and I know we're straying
Yeah.
off course here, but in your coaching business, do you coach managers
Yeah.
in this very thing, like the stay interview? Like, you could have an employer who has a manager, and the manager is doing the day to day, but kind of lose sight on the overall picture, that 10,000 foot view.
Yeah.
where they need to do some of this retention stuff or they start losing employees and then they're like, why am I losing these employees? They come to you and
Mhm.
you coach that manager on some of this stuff. Is that
Absolutely. It's totally relatable to know that communication is key in
Mhm.
everything. So I have many CFOs, CEOs that come to me and they're just going through the tasks that need to get done and
Right.
not really talking about the purpose or why we're doing this. And asking for ideas and really just sitting and
Mhm.
listening. They're always talking and telling. So you need to change your approach to really get people to be motivated to
Mhm.
do more for you and to show up better for you and to have these great ideas come to you.
Mhm.
Have that open door policy. So we really need to communicate in a powerful way, but sometimes communication is best when you're just listening.
Right. Asking questions, but then listening to the answers.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, so more than anything, we're really concentrating on listening skills, asking for advice, things that we just don't do. You just have
Mhm.
to have a few powerful questions to go into a meeting with, and it changes the whole
Right.
dynamic of the meeting.
Mhm. All right, number 5.
It has to be about wellness offerings. We need to make sure that we are helping our people mentally, physically, and financially,
Okay.
all three together. So, on the physical side, you might see healthy lunch and snacks coming in, wellness competitions, getting people to be, maybe giving health coaching or help them talk about nutrition to make sure they're healthy,
Mhm.
so they perform better at work. And then on the financial side, maybe you have, um, a financial planner come in and help your people make sure they're planning for the future and planning for, what they're doing with their
Right.
money. And then the last thing is definitely, the mental. I'm a big component of mindfulness,
Mhm. We were
bringing
just
those
talking
active.
about that.
Yeah. It's so important to me. I feel like it was a game changer to me to really be more present and in the
Mhm.
moment and really figure out what was going on. I think sometimes we think about what we're going to be doing after the meeting or what
Mhm.
just happened the meeting
Absolutely.
before. So we really need to start practicing some different ways of working so we're
Mhm.
more mindful.
Because we can go on autopilot, and we've all done that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you said, I've just gotta get this done, and this done, and I forget about everything else,
Mhm.
and I'm tasking.
Yes. Yeah. And, I really need to get into deep work sometime. And maybe it's the deep work of the conversation.
Mhm.
Everybody multitasks and it doesn't work. We need to do single
So
tasking.
you're talking don't preach to me
Yeah.
because I am the multitasker of the universe.
Well, hey, you maybe figured it out, but
I
most
don't
people
know.
haven't.
I'm not sure that I have, but
Yeah. I think when we do kind of get in that deep work mode, we're being more mindful
Mhm.
and we're really just concentrating on one thing. And it could be just that conversation with that
Mhm.
one person.
There were actually a set of books that came out a
Mhm.
long while ago by Don Miguel Ruiz,
Mm.
and they are all about mindfulness. And this is, 20 years ago,
Yeah.
but it's all about mindfulness and being in the moment
Yeah.
because you can't how are you gonna remember what just happened if you weren't present with your
Oh,
mind?
absolutely.
So, great set of books. There's like 4 of them,
I'll
I
have to
think, but
definitely check those out.
yeah, really awesome.
Love it.
And what is number 6?
Oh, there's so many. I've
Do
been
you have more than 6?
I have so many. I have more than you can know because I think there's so many. Every company is so different
Mhm.
that there's different things that you need to do depending on what your employees' needs are. So the next one I probably would love to highlight is recognition and rewards.
Okay.
It could be just as easy as a thank you or
Mhm.
employee of the month or bringing everybody together for a lunch celebration,
Mhm.
celebrating the wins. All of that together really makes people want to come to work and
Mhm.
excited about it and know that you're really appreciated for everything you're doing each day.
Right. I love that. We
Yeah.
bake cupcake or I used to bake cupcakes for everybody's birthday or
Oh,
employee anniversary,
that's
like
amazing.
their, employment anniversary.
Yeah.
But then
When you get to so many
I
people, you'll be
was
baking all the
right.
time, right?
I'm like, "Why have I gained 10 pounds? What's going on?" I like what I'm making. I don't know.
Yeah.
But now I do it once a month.
Yeah.
And
And
so
celebrate all of them.
but people are like, "Oh, that's so cool." But you know what? I don't even think of it as I love doing it. I
Yeah.
love being able to celebrate them
Yeah.
with something.
Yeah. And you're building better connections too and
Mhm.
relationships with your employees when you do this stuff. And they're all going to be rooting for each other and they're all going to be wanting to be recognized. So they're going to do better work as well.
Mhm. So in closing,
Yeah.
what is like the number one thing you would tell any employer out of anything we've talked about or maybe didn't
Yeah.
touch on with regard to employee retention? Like what is one nugget that you want everybody listening to remember?
I think it's the key is communication, impactful communication that really both sides really get listened to
Mhm.
and you really get some really great ideas out of it. And I think that'll help you know what your company really needs and what your employees needs.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
So, if our listeners want to get in touch with you, they need
Yeah.
help, they need coaching, whatever it is that they need that you can help them with, how do
Yeah.
they reach out to you?
Yeah. So I have a website, inspirebigdreams.com. My email is Melissa at inspirebigdreams. And I'm on all social channels under Melissa Severance or Inspire Big Dreams. So look for me on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
coming on
Thanks for
today.
having me.
And thank you, friends, for joining us today and every week here on The Fashionista Life, brought to you by True Fashionistas. If you want a deeper dive, head to my website, thefashionistalife.com, to sign up for my weekly newsletter where we take a deeper dive into a new topic. Have a fabulous day.